Hello, Googleization Nation, and welcome to Beyond the Office, Building and Leading Remote Teams, a GGG Unleashed podcast with thought leader Bill Keller. I'm Ira Wolf.
And I'm Jason Cochran. In each of Bill's episodes, you'll get the latest research, trends, and tips on remote work to build and lead cohesive teams around the world for the future of work. Let's begin.
Welcome back to Beyond the Office, Building and Leading Remote Teams. We're happy to have you here today. And on this episode, we're going to talk about the digital transformation, AI and automation. And so, unless you've been living under a rock for the last 6 months, you probably heard of ChatGPT, and this AI revolution is on the move. And I'm not sure whether you're in the forefront of this or you're just afraid and trying to bury your head in the sand, but I would encourage you to get on board. I believe that this is not like Facebook's metaverse that never seemed to come to fruition, but I really feel that this AI revolution has advantages for us, but also there's going to be some challenges as well. And so what does this have to do with remote teams? In addition to building my remote team, I want to make sure that they're future-proofed. And so I'm not only looking at this, many people go overseas because of the lower cost or because of the talent pool, but I'm also trying to make sure that we're giving them the tools they need to be efficient and productive moving forward in the future. So we're focusing a lot on AI and automation in addition to building our remote teams as well. And so I wanted to give you some of the tools, tips, and techniques that we're using to build our teams overseas and to help them to adjust to this new AI world that we're living in. And whether you have only a local team or whether you have a global team, I believe some of these ideas will help you. And so as the president and leader of the organization, I really feel it's my job to kind of look forward into the future, see what's coming, and help our people prepare. And so how do we do that? So the first thing that I think is really important is we have 2 10-minute meetings every week. And in those 10-minute meetings, we're not just talking about AI, although we do talk about that from time to time. Really what we're doing in those meetings is we're helping them to prepare for the future, to adapt to change. And that's what this is. We're moving into a world of more and more rapid change. And unless your people are prepared for that, I think you're going to be falling behind. And so I spend those 10-minute times on Tuesdays and Friday mornings. For me, it's at 6:50, or depending upon the time zone that we're working in, 7:50 before the workday starts, just to give them a dose of encouragement, give them some ideas for the future, help them to grow both professionally and personally. And that's really the basis of where we start, because we're trying to get them moving and get them understanding of what's coming in the future as we give them both vision for the company and also vision for where we see the workplace going. So that's where I would start. The second thing is as this AI revolution was starting to pick up steam, I wanted to get people excited about it. And how do I get people excited about it? Because in everybody's day-to-day work, they're often just, doing the same thing they were doing before. But how do I get them thinking about something different? And so we actually had an AI contest where we encouraged everybody to submit solutions on how to do their work or work for the company better, or just a novel solution that they found using AI tools. And we're not necessarily a tech company, although we do have some programmers. We have a wide range of people, whether they're in finance, accounting, graphic design, or even in programming. But the AI tools are pretty much hitting every situation and every job now. And so it was really important for us to get everybody moving, get everybody thinking about this. And that was really important to us as we started to see how we get people thinking differently. And so how did I even do that? I actually went on to ChatGPT. If you're not familiar with this, think of it as a search engine that will give you more natural answers to your questions. It's not just going to give you websites that you got to go search. You're going to ask a question and it's going to give you an answer like you might get from a human. And so I actually went to ChatGPT and I actually let it help us make the contest. We gave them some bullet points of all the rules, the things that we wanted in the contest, and actually wrote the contest rules for me. And then I pushed it out to my people and then encouraged them and gave some cash prizes prizes away. But some of the solutions that they were coming back with were incredible. Some of our graphic designers used multiple tools, AI tools stacked on top of each other to create websites in a very different and unique way than they were doing before. And some of the solutions were just simple, like using it to create better emails and better communication. But it was still the people were putting and investing the time into coming up with new ways to use these tools. And once they started doing it, it kind of grabbed hold, and the people were gaining excitement, because there can be some fear around this. There's lots of people that don't know where this is going. I don't know where this is going to head eventually, but I really feel that we need to grab hold of it and trying to help our people and encourage them in that excitement. And the contest was one of the best ways that we could do that, and so it had phenomenal results, and I encourage you to do the same. The other thing is if you're on TikTok or Instagram Reels, I was never big into that before, but as I kind of got into this AI side, I started watching some Instagram Reels, and my Instagram might look a whole lot different than many people's. I got a lot of videos on AI, and I'm just kind of scrolling through those every day, watching a few of those, and then when I find one that I like, not just so that I like, that I think is applicable to one of our staff members, I'm pushing that out to them on an individual basis and saying, hey, I think you should look at this. This might have an idea for you and your work. And again, encouraging them to think differently and on a more individual basis rather than the design contest, which was open to everybody. We're really thinking specifically about their roles and how they might be able to use these AI tools to push that out. And then what I would do is I would look within the organization to say is, who are the first adopters of this type of technology? Who do you see who's on the cutting edge in your company, and elicit their help in this process? Whether it would be having them start and use some of these tools in their process every day, that's I found to be super helpful. But this is also going to take some time, effort, and energy on your part. And so not only do you want to elicit their help, you're going to have to give them the freedom and perhaps even create some space for them in which to experiment. Because I think once you do that and they start to use some of these tools, it's going to be much easier to roll them out into the rest of your company. So for example, just even in our communications, working overseas, many people talk about the language barrier in communication, and working in India specifically, they often have more of a British tone to their language, which doesn't always translate quite as well into American English. And so using ChatGPT, it helps them to rewrite their emails and to sound more professional. And we've had a couple people that have kind of taken the bull by the horns in that particular area, and many people have caught on to that and have used that. And then I would start to spend some time thinking about how these AI tools can be used within your organization. It's sometimes hard for somebody who's doing a specific job. They might have an idea into a certain area, like, okay, we could use it for this, but they don't really always have the big picture. And as an owner of the company or somebody who's in leadership, it's oftentimes because you have a much bigger picture, you can see how the tools might go across different areas of your business. And I think it's going to be really important to have some time. It's the one thing that most leaders don't have, but I think you really need to step back and say, how do I gain some white space to think about this in a different way? So you can kind of understand, I talked about emails and I talked about graphic design, but for those of you who are not in this world, to understand what can this really do, I will tell you a little bit how we're thinking of this for the future. One, we're going in to use AI to help us on our graphic design. One, we're hoping to be able to speed up production of our ads by over 50% using that. So it's not always AI, but I also added automation. So we were able to develop scripts and use some automated tools to be able to help us to clip pictures and to produce ads at up to 50% faster than we're currently doing. But we needed that white space, and we needed somebody who kind of took that challenge on and has been able to create those tools. I'm also looking at ways we can use ChatGPT and other LLMs or large language models to help our people, because I asked them in one of my meetings, are you open to having AI manage you? And they were all open to that, but I did add the caveat, if it's going to help you reach your goals and objectives. And I think that's really important when we align, not just, hey, how can we get more effective and efficient, with our workforce, but are we helping them meet their goals and objectives? And they seem to be super open to that idea. And so we're actually looking at ChatGPT to help basically be a coach for different areas of their work. And because of all its knowledge, you can go into ChatGPT and say, develop me a training program on X, Y, or Z. And it will pop out an incredibly detailed training program that your people can use and follow. And they can go back to ChatGPT or one of the other Bard or one of the other models and get more information and more learning. It's basically like having an incredible group of teachers at your fingertips, and it's an incredibly amazing experience if you've ever gotten to use them, because it can also then help your creativity as well. So looking at using it not only to increase your communication, but also to help as far as coaching is concerned. We're looking at communications, not only writing better emails, but understanding people's emails better, right? Because working overseas, we're actually looking at having the AI scan all the email communications between our people in India and their counterparts in the US, and seeing what we're missing, right? Means, is there some nuances that we might not be understanding and that kind of get lost in translation? And we're using that model to then help train and coach our people as well. And these are things that are, we're still developing, but that we're looking out at. And I think if you do the same for your business, you're going to find there is an incredible amount of things that it will be able to do and help you with. So those are some of my tips and techniques that we've been using, some of the things that we're looking at for the future. But I really encourage you, as you're moving about building teams, whether it's locally or globally, that these AI tools are going to be invaluable for you even today, but even more so as you move into the future. So in closing, make sure that you have enough white space so you can have time to think about this. I would encourage your people to be in this growth mindset, help them to be excited about this process, and then give them the tools and opportunities to be able to implement some of these tools themselves as they move forward. And I think you're going to be well on your way to being at the forefront of this digital transformation as we step into a new AI world. So thanks for joining us on Beyond the Office. I look forward to seeing you next time.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. For those of you who are curious about building remote teams but aren't quite sure how to move forward, I encourage you to reach out to us. And as my gift to you for listening to our podcast, I'd be happy to give you an hour of free consulting to help you on your way to building and leading remote teams. And if you decide to let us help you build your remote team, we'll give you a free month of service on your first hire. That's a discount of up to $5,000. And as a disclaimer, this offer was actually spoken by an AI audio generator through a company called 11 Labs. All I did was train it for 2 minutes and then type in the text, and it generated this section all through the power of AI. I hope you found this episode interesting. And until next time, go out and build and lead great remote teams.
That's it for today's episode. Thank you for tuning in and digging deep into what's ahead for the future of remote work. We'll be back next month with Bill for another episode. But until then, please visit Staffing Global's website for additional resources at staffdifferent.com. And remember, don't let the shift hit your plans.